Imagine waking up tomorrow to a world without polar bears, sea turtles, or even coral reefs. Sounds dramatic, but that's exactly the reality we're sprinting toward as climate change tightens its grip on the planet. You may think extinction is some distant concept, something that happens slowly over centuries, but the truth is, entire species are being pushed to the edge within our own lifetime, and some are already disappearing before most of us even notice. Today, we're diving into 10 species standing on the front line of climate change, each carrying a story that reveals just how high the stakes really are. Take the polar bear, for instance. Picture one of Earth's most powerful predators stranded on a shrinking sheet of ice, desperate to find food. These animals rely on sea ice to hunt seals, but as temperatures rise and ice melts earlier each year, they're being forced to swim farther, starve longer, and enter towns in search of scraps. If sea ice disappears completely in summer months, we may soon be telling stories of polar bears the same way we talk about dinosaurs, as creatures of the past. And while polar bears capture headlines, let's not forget the sea turtles. For millions of years, these ancient mariners have returned to the same beaches to lay their eggs. But here's the catch. The sex of a hatchling is determined by the sand's temperature. A few degrees hotter, and nearly every baby born is female. Entire populations are on the verge of collapsing, not because of poaching or pollution this time, but simply because the planet is running a fever. Imagine a future ocean filled with turtles that have no males left to carry the species forward. Now shift your focus to the oceans themselves. Coral reefs, the rainforests of the sea, are bleaching at unprecedented rates. When ocean waters warm beyond their tolerance, corals expel the algae that give them both color and life. What's left is a ghostly white skeleton, stunning but lifeless. And with coral reefs gone, so too vanish thousands of species that depend on them for shelter and survival, from clownfish to sharks. Lose the reef, and you don't just lose beauty, you lose a foundation of marine life that billions of people rely on for food. On land, koalas are facing their own struggle. Eucalyptus leaves, their main diet, are becoming less nutritious as carbon dioxide levels rise. Combined with more frequent bushfires scorching their habitats, these cuddly icons are slowly starving in forests that once sustained them. When Australia's bushfires raged in 2019 and 2020, images of burned and dehydrated koalas shook the world. Yet unless emissions are curbed, such tragedies will become the new normal. The same story unfolds in the Amazon with the jaguar. As deforestation and droughts linked to climate change shrink their territory, jaguars are being forced closer to human settlements, sparking conflict. For centuries, they've been symbols of power and mystery, but now they're slipping away, not because they can't hunt, but because the forests they depend on are vanishing under chainsaws and rising heat. Meanwhile, high in the Himalayas, the snow leopard, the elusive ghost of the mountains, is losing its snowy camouflage. As glaciers retreat and tree lines climb higher, snow leopards find themselves cornered, competing for space with livestock and humans. Their ghostly presence may soon fade altogether, leaving behind mountains stripped of one of their most iconic guardians. Even creatures of the deep aren't safe. Emperor penguins in Antarctica depend on stable sea ice to breed and raise their chicks. But as ice melts earlier, colonies are losing entire generations of chicks before they ever learn to swim. What was once a kingdom of icy resilience is crumbling, and with it, the very species that inspired one of the most beloved wildlife films ever made. Closer to home, monarch butterflies are suffering too. Their epic migration across North America, stretching thousands of miles, is collapsing under unpredictable weather patterns. Droughts kill the milkweed plants their caterpillars depend on, while storms wipe out millions mid-flight. Generations of butterflies once painted the skies orange and black, a moving miracle of nature. But their numbers are shrinking so fast that children may never see them in the wild. The African elephant, another giant of Earth's story, is also under siege. Droughts are drying up watering holes and food supplies, forcing elephants to trek farther and encounter greater risks. Calves are dying from heat stress, herds are splintering, and ancient migration routes are breaking down. Known for their intelligence and memory, elephants are literally remembering a world that no longer exists. And finally, the humble puffin, those clown-faced seabirds dotting cliffs of the North Atlantic, are starving. Warming oceans are shifting fish populations away from their nesting sites. Puffins return each year to feed their chicks the same fish they've always relied on, only to find the waters empty. Chicks starve in their burrows, and colonies that once filled the skies are falling silent. So what ties all these stories together? Climate change isn't picking favorites. From the poles to the tropics, from oceans to mountains, every ecosystem is being disrupted. These species aren't just victims, they're signals, living warnings that the systems we depend on for food, water, and stability are unraveling. And while the loss of any single species is heartbreaking, the combined effect is catastrophic. Each extinction chips away at the intricate web that keeps life balanced, a web we're all caught in whether we realize it or not. The question isn't just whether polar bears or puffins survive, it's whether we will. Because every vanishing species is a mirror, showing us what's coming for us if we don't act. These stories aren't just about animals, they're about us and the future we're racing toward.